Okay, hello grade 10s. Hopefully you're doing well today. We're going to continue on taking a look at mitosis. So we're introduced to the cell cycle yesterday. Today we're going to be looking at some of the things that can affect the rate of mitosis or how quickly cells divide. And we are still in 1.2 of your text. We're at page 32 to 36. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit more about why cells divide. We're going to talk about the rates of division, and we're going to talk about some of the factors which can affect rates of division. We're going to end the activity today. You're going to be watching a short video on someone named Judah Folkman, who is a very famous cancer researcher, and answering some reflective questions on some of the work he did and some things that we learn about cancer based on that video. So by the end of the class, what you should be able to do is identify factors which affect the rates of mitosis and also identify the implications on personal health when rates of mitosis are altered. Okay, so we learned yesterday that our bodies are made of tons and tons and tons of cells which are always constantly dividing, okay? And this division will happen at different rates depending on where we are looking in your body. So for example, neurons, so those are the cells that make up the nervous tissue, so the tissue in your brain, your spinal cord, all your nerves. Once they mature, once they specialize, they do not undergo mitosis. That's why if you have like a brain or a spinal cord injury, it's not like just cutting your skin where you can grow new skin. If you have damage to your brain or damage to your spinal cord, those cells can't repair, so that tissue can't be repaired, which is why brain and spinal cord injuries are much more serious, and you may have someone who can become paralyzed, for example, because those cells are no longer functioning. Other cells, for example, like your skin cells, because they are so constantly under attack, they're getting hit, they're getting rubbed, they're getting cut and scratched, the rates of mitosis in your skin cells are very, very, very high. Okay, so the rate at which your skin cells are going to go through the cell cycle is a lot faster, okay, than a lot of the other cells in your body. So even just looking at different types of cells based on their job are going to have different rates of the cell division and rates at which they go through the cell cycle. We also, to review from last day, know that cell division is super important because it gives the body the chance to replace worn out or broken cells as well as growing. So big thing though is repair. So the rate at which your cells are divided are going to be controlled in your body and can be regulated by your body by altering the rate of the cell cycle. So by altering the rate at which the cells go through the growth phase and the division phase. Also, your physical environment or the factors in the environment can increase or decrease rates of mitosis. So for example, altitude. So if you live somewhere very, very high in altitude, so high from sea level, as you increase in altitude, the amount of oxygen, the concentration of oxygen in the air is going to go down quite a bit. So because every breath you take is going to bring in less oxygen, your body is going to increase the rate of division of your red blood cells so that every piece of oxygen that goes into your body can be transported really easily, because red blood cells are essentially the vehicle through which your body sends oxygen around the body. So that's why also you'll see a lot of the times high performance athletes, they'll go and train places that are a higher altitude to increase the amount of red blood cells in their body so that they're better at delivering oxygen around their body and therefore can perform better. Also, if you take something like an antibiotic are called bacteriostatic drugs, and essentially what they do is they stop mitosis from happening in bacteria. And if you stop the rate of mitosis in bacteria, the infection being caused by the bacteria can't spread and it can't get worse. So that's why if you have something like strep throat, you may go to the doctors and they may prescribe you something like penicillin or amoxicillin, and it's to stop the rate of mitosis in those targeted cells. Also, a very similar approach is used in chemotherapy. Okay, in chemotherapy, the targeted cells, though, instead of bacteria cells that may be causing an infection, would be cancerous cells. So what can change the rate of cell division within your body? So like we said, signals sent by your body can also can alter the rate of division. So one of the things that your bodies can do is it can send a signal to your cells to undergo something called apoptosis. Okay, so an apoptosis is a process by which essentially tells your cells, a specific set of cells, to disintegrate. Okay, or you could think of it as to die, to commit suicide. So those cells will stop functioning once they receive the signal for apoptosis. So why would your body want some of your cells to die? Well, the older cells get, the less effective they are, the more worn out they are. Just like the longer you drive a car or the longer you have, say, a laptop, maybe the less quick it is, the less effective it is. It may not work as well. Things start to break down. So when the cells aren't doing their job well anymore, your body wants to get rid of them. Or if a cell has become injured somehow, like maybe it's taken in a toxin, or has been injured lethally somehow, your body may also say, okay, this cell is no longer useful, so it needs to undergo apoptosis to kind of keep itself functioning properly and for it not to spread. Okay, so essentially apoptosis signals will be sent to cells that are either really old or somehow lethally damaged, and they're no longer useful. Disease can also alter the rate of cell division. So cancer cells are seen as unhealthy because they essentially uncontrollably divide. So it can be caused by some sort of mutation in the cell's DNA. Those mutations can come from the environment. So something like if you expose your body to too much UV radiation, so overexposure to the sun without wearing like protective sun gear, like clothing or sunscreen, or overuse of things like tanning beds, that UV radiation can impact your skin cells and cause skin cancer, or exposing yourself to different chemicals like the ones that are present in cigarette smoke can cause those mutations in your cells. Or it could just be inherited. So some cancers we know are genetic and they may run in a family. So if your parents or grandparents or someone else in your family has that type of cancer, you may have a slightly increased risk of having that. And what's bad about cancer cells, why they're not healthy, is they undergo really, really rapid divisions. So, for example, normal cells live for about 50 to 60 divisions. So a cell will divide about 50 or 60 times, then it will get the signal from the body to undergo apoptosis, and it will die, and it will get replaced by a new cell. Cancer cells, though, don't listen to those apoptosis signals, so they tend to be immortal. Okay, so they essentially live on for forever. So they don't ever stop dividing and they don't undergo apoptosis even when the body tells them to. They are similar to normal cells, though, that they do just make exact copies of themselves, but remember, a lot of times there's a mutation or something wrong in those instructions. So it's like photocopying a worksheet over and over and over again with some sort of typo in it. Like we said, they don't listen to apoptotic signals in the same way normal cells do. Also, normal healthy cells like to stick together in tissues. We learned earlier in the unit that cells, when they group together to perform a job, is called a tissue. Whereas cancer cells don't like to stick together, they like to behave independently, which is why cancers can spread, because a cancer cell that may be localized in one area may split off from that area or that group or that tissue and then go to somewhere else in the body where it can manifest in another area. And again, even though healthy cells will self-destruct when they're too old or too damaged, cancer cells don't. They probably will just move to another part of the body, which is when we see things like cancer spreading. Okay, so you're going to take a little bit closer look at some of the current research and ways we're looking at researching and fighting and treating cancer by looking at someone's research, a very famous cancer warrior named Dr. Judah Folkman. Okay, on the worksheet posted on Classroom, there's a hyperlink to the video right here. Don't start at the very beginning of the video. I want you to start at about 38 minutes and 30 seconds-ish, okay? That's when the part concerning Judah Folkman starts, and you can watch that till the end of the video clip. Don't watch the whole video. The whole video is about an hour. That's too long for you to be watching, and the first part isn't related to what we've been talking about in class. So fast forward the video to 38:32, or about 3830, and you'll see a little profile on Judah Folkman. As you're watching the video or after you finish, there's 4 discussion questions here, or analysis questions based on what we saw in that video. If you could fill that out, and then you're going to submit this to me on Google Classroom. Okay? So go through this. If you have any questions, reach out to me during office hours where you'll get a really quick response, or outside of office hours, you'll still get a response. It may just be a little delayed. Take a look on our FAQ page, or ask some of your peers in class. Okay? Submit that today. This is your work for today, and I hope everyone's staying healthy, staying home, and staying safe. Okay? See you guys for our next lesson.